Hi, welcome to the Amazonian Medical Mission here in Bolivia. We want to continue with our previous presentation on Genesis 2 verse 15 on the precepts of looking for a marriage partner or even to keep a marriage together. And I remember the 5 points. The first one was to be in the presence of God. The second was to have a work or a vision for your life as the man. The third one was to be able to cultivate. And then number 4 was to be able to protect you. And the very last one, number 5, would be to know the Word of God. So you can teach the Word of God and understand what God's precepts are. Now, I want to emphasize on the one about cultivation. The word there is to dress. The word in Hebrew is abad. I think it's pronounced like that. But anyway, it means to cultivate. Cultivate. Let's have a look at the precept of cultivate a wife, as Jesus Christ told us. So you go to Ephesians 5:25, and it says there, husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. So yeah, Jesus Christ is saying, husbands, love your wives, and I'm going to explain to you how to do that. So Jesus is now teaching us a precept. See what the precept is. Verse 26, it says that he might sanctify and cleanse it, obviously her, with the washing of the water by the word. So husbands, Jesus is your example, so you need to be like Jesus. So let's see, you need to sanctify thy wife and you need to cleanse her. How? By the washing of the word. So you need to know the word of God to sanctify and cleanse your wife. Verse 27 says that he might present it or her to himself a glorious church. So husbands, you need to sanctify her, you need to cleanse her with the word of God, and you then present her to yourself. If you are unhappy with your matrimony and you've been married for 5, 20, whatever years, whose fault is it? If a man is not doing these things, it's a man's fault. If you're not happy, you need to change. You need to understand these precepts, and a woman likes to be cultivated. She's designed that way. Now, if you don't have a purpose or something, your wife's going to be frustrated. You need to understand these principles that God is teaching us here. So God presents you a wife. God doesn't tell you have to marry somebody or give you a dream or whatever, saying this is the man you're going to marry. No, God doesn't do that. God never violates free choice. God says he presented Eve to Adam. God will present you prospects and for you to make the decision. It's not God saying you have to marry. So if you marry somebody that God tells you have to marry, then you can actually blame God for all the problems in matrimony. But God doesn't do that, all right? So you make a decision, and your decision is your free will. But God presents you a wife, you decide, and God never gives you the perfect woman that exists in your head. That woman doesn't exist in reality. You take the woman, follow the precepts, and then what does he say? You present it yourself. So the woman that exists in your head, you create that from the raw material God's given you and to help you in your life. So you present it to yourself. So if you go walk around and your wife is a beaming all joy, that's a great reflection on the husband. So it says there, continue in verse 27, it says, not have spot or wrinkle, any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. Your wife needs to have all the spots removed, all the rough edges, the wrinkle, or any such thing, and that it should be holy, presentable before God, and without blemish. Verse 28 says, so ought a man to love their wives. You need to love your wife. Cultivation is a loving process. It's not a forced thing. We need to be leaders in inspiration, not manipulation. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. So you need to love your wives as your own bodies, and he that loveth his wife loveth himself. If your wife is depressed looking, her clothes is looking terrible, she's overweight and she's not happy, It's a really bad reflection on you. You do not criticize her. You don't say, honey, are you so fat and ugly? No, no, no. You say, honey, just wake up 6 in the morning, let's go jogging. Or your wife's clothes isn't so nice. You say, ugh, wife, you got such ugly looking clothes. No, 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 no. You say, honey, let's go to the best store in town and let's go choose the nicest clothes for you and I'll pay for it. Here in the Amazon, we don't really have stores, okay? So what I did is I bought my wife a sewing machine, and she just loves the sewing machine, and she's making clothes out of all the secondhand bed sheets and things that we can't get brand new things yet. So, I mean, some of the material, some of the stuff we get is actually from the United States. People seem to take it back to the store, I guess, refund or something, and they don't put it back in the store. They send it to places like Bolivia. So my wife takes these bed sheets, which are in perfect condition, and converts them into the most beautiful clothing. And so keep this in mind, men and women looking for husbands. We need to understand these precepts. May this be a great inspiration to you, and may you study these things out and have happy marriages for the glory of God. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation. God bless you. Bye-bye.